Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'll be sharing my thoughts on the latest episode of Game of Thrones. As is the norm in my reviews, I won't be holding back on any spoilers, so please do bear that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. If you watched my previous Game of Thrones review, you'll know that I quite enjoyed the Season 8 premiere, however it didn't prove to be to everyone's taste. A fair amount of viewers found the episode to be too slow for their liking, and to be honest I think there are going to be many who feel the same about this episode. In a season containing only 6 episodes, you'd be forgiven for thinking that everyone would be action-packed, but here we are 2 episodes in, and the Night King has only just arrived outside Winterfell. Now that's not to say that I didn't like this episode, because I did, quite a lot in fact. But I can certainly understand why some viewers are getting a bit agitated to what they see as Game of Thrones biding its sweet-ass time when there really isn't a lot of time left. However, I think that's kind of the point of the episode. This instalment serves as the final goodbye for the characters that we've come to love. Everyone we like is gathered at Winterfell to spend what could be their final night together, and this is clearly the calm before the absolute shitstorm that the Night King is going to unleash on the North. And for me, it worked. I think those who dislike this episode will look back on it in a couple of weeks' time once their favourite characters have been impaled with an icy spear or burnt to death by an undead dragon and think to themselves, yeah, you know what, I wish we could go back to that happy night at Winterfell before it all went to shit. Those who desire violence will undoubtedly get what they want from next week's episode onwards, and perhaps they will find themselves regretting what they wished for. Anyway, enough about all that. What actually happens during the episode itself? Well, things open up with Jaime on trial in front of Daenerys, Sansa and Jon. I have to admit it was a bit of a shock being reminded of some of the horrible things that Jaime has done in the past. We've been on such an emotional journey with Jaime, so much so that I actually forgot about what an arsehole he was when the show started. And as much as I was obviously rooting for Jaime to make it out of the situation alive, I can understand why all the characters in front of him wanted to see him dead. Thankfully, Jaime had Lady Brienne to step in to defend him, explaining to Sansa that it was he who gave the order for Brienne to protect her, leading to Sansa and Jon both agreeing to spare him, which left Daenerys sulking like the spoilt brat that she is. As much as I liked seeing Lady Brienne, or should I say Sir Brienne now, jumping to Jaime's defence, it kind of felt like a missed opportunity and not having her explain why Jaime killed the Mad King. I mean, that's Daenerys' main beef with Jaime, and this was the chance for Brienne and also for him to explain why he did what he did, but nope, unfortunately it didn't happen. Maybe the show is holding this reveal back for a later date, I don't know, but all I do know is that I was there screaming at my TV, begging for Brienne to tell Daenerys why Jaime should be considered a hero for killing Aerys, but sadly it just didn't happen. Although that was somewhat disappointing, this scene did provide us with the moment of Brandon Stark reciting the exact words that Jaime said to him when he pushed him out the window, and that was bloody amazing. I loved how Jaime knew exactly what Bran meant, but everyone else just looked at him and thought, what the hell is this weirdo talking about now? I still don't really like seeing the other characters treating Bran as a bit of an oddball, but to be fair, without being given any form of context, you can't really expect Jon, Daenerys or Sansa to know what the hell Bran meant by the phrase, the things we do for love. It did just seem like the ramblings of a crazy boy. Jaime then went to visit Bran after he was granted stay at Winterfell, at which point Bran explained to him that he wasn't angry for what Jaime had done to him in the past. Now weirdly, because I've come to like Jaime quite a lot, I'm glad that these two can now see eye to eye. Or should I say, eye to free eye. I'm sorry for that joke, and I also believe that Jaime is truly sorry for putting Bran in a wheelchair. Obviously, I know that's not going to help the guy magically walk again, but like Jaime said, he's a different person now to who he was back then. So although Bran would be well within his right to tell everyone that it was Jaime who pushed him out of the window, I'm actually glad that the three-eyed raven chose to turn the other cheek. I think Jaime and Bran both put in a decent shift this episode, and it seems that they will have an even bigger role to play from next week onwards, with Jaime fighting alongside Sir Brienne and Bran playing bait to the Night King. Speaking of Bran playing bait, I have to say that at this moment in time I'm not really sure how logical this plan actually is. Out of nowhere, Bran drops the bombshell that the Night King is coming for him because he has the mark and he always knows where he is. Well Jesus, thanks for telling us that now, Bran, you know, thanks for letting us know that you're a beacon that attracts the Night King. Maybe you would have thought to tell us that when you came through the gates at Winterfell, eh? Bloody idiot. Anyway, as I was saying, Bran has it in his head that the Night King will personally go for him, which is actually quite dumb when you think about it. I mean, the Night King is a commander of a supposedly 100,000 strong army. Why the hell would he put himself at risk going after Bran? Surely it makes sense for someone else to get him and then just watch from the sidelines? Perhaps there is a reason behind this. Maybe the Night King is the only person who's immune to Bran's walk powers, for instance, or, you know, maybe there's some other reason why he personally needs to kill him. I just hope the writers are able to provide a satisfying reason reason as to why the Night King feels the need to go and kill Bran personally, because if they don't, then he could end up looking a bit stupid. Also, at this moment in time, the reasoning behind why the Night King is set on killing everyone remains just as vague as his apparent reason to target Bran. Bran mentions about how the king wants to bring about the Dark Night or the Long Night without ever really explaining why. I mean, the basic gist of it is that the Night King doesn't like Bran because Bran knows all about human history, but I don't really see why that's such a bad thing. You know, why would you then decide to destroy the whole of Westeros because of that? Because you don't like history? I don't really know. I mean, what does Bran know, or rather, what could Bran know that the Night King doesn't want him to discover? Now, this isn't really to be taken as a criticism because these questions could be answered in due course. However, I am a bit concerned that this is the only explanation we're going to get as to the Night King's motivations, and, you know, I don't really find it a satisfying reason as to why he's doing what he's doing. So, hopefully this is expanded upon a bit more, but I have my doubts if it will be. Moving on from Bran now to my favourite character, Daenerys. Wait, my favourite character, Daenerys? Favourite character? Who wrote this script? Anyway, Daenerys has a bit of a stinker this time around, in the sense that absolutely nothing went the way she wanted it to, which for me meant I had quite a great time, as you know I can't stand her. First off, as previously mentioned, she has to deal with Jon siding with Sansa in letting Jaime stay, at which point you can tell that she's clearly pissed off with Jon taking his sister's side over hers. Then she goes to visit Sansa and tries to talk things out and attempts to appear sincere and friendly, which I didn't buy at all, and Sansa didn't either. When Sansa questioned her about what was going to happen to the North after the war ended, because the North is traditionally an independent area, Daenerys said that she still wanted to rule it, showing her complete disregard for the will of the people once again. Theon Greyjoy then returned, and although he did say that Yara would take the Iron Islands back for Daenerys, he himself had come back to fight for Sansa. Now, you'd expect someone who was standing before the person claiming to be queen to say that they were going to fight for them. But nope, Theon's back because he wants to fight for the Starks and in turn the North, not for Daenerys. Oh, and on a side note, Theon said that he's going to defend Bran from the Night King, which to me means he's pretty much dead. As much as I like Theon, I think he's going to bite the dust pretty soon. Getting back to Daenerys, and finally she also has to deal with the reveal that she's actually been shagging her nephew. The funny thing is that when Jon reveals that she's his aunt, she doesn't even seem to care that she's been banging a relative. Instead, she's more concerned about Jon having a more legitimate claim to the throne than she does, once again proving that all she cares about is power. Now, for all intents and purposes, you can take what I just said about Daenerys with a pinch of salt, because like I said a moment ago, I don't really care for her character at all. However, I think that even the most hardcore Dany supporters would admit that she didn't come out of this episode looking very good at all. Dany might have had a bit of a miserable episode, however the majority of the other cast members took the opportunity to enjoy themselves one last time before the uncertainty of the upcoming battle. I can confidently say that this is probably the most I've laughed in any Game of Thrones episode, which is a bit odd considering what's on the horizon, but the jokes just kept on landing. Tormund really is the gift that keeps on giving. You could tell from the moment that when he saw Jaime sitting next to Brienne, he felt that he had to try and impress her somehow. And how did he do this? Well, by talking about killing a giant when he was 10 years old, which admittedly is quite impressive, before then saying that he jumped into bed with a giant's wife, which is a bit weird, but you know, okay, whatever. And finally, he tops it all off by saying that he sucked her tits for 3 months and that's how he got strong. What the hell, man? What's wrong with you? It's probably the funniest moment on the show, in my opinion. I'm sure most of us have been in a situation in which we've tried to impress someone that we like, but instead of saying something clever or funny, we just come out with something incredibly weird instead, and this is essentially what Tormund does here. It was absolutely hilarious, and as much as I like the guy, and as much as he obviously likes Brienne, I don't think he's got a chance with her, which makes his obsession with the big lady all the more funny.
My goodness, what an incredible specimen.
You okay, Scott?
Those eyes are so divine.
Alright, you're really freaking me out here a bit.
That beard, that beautiful flowing beard.
Beard?
I'm not talking about you, Josh, you buffoon. I'm talking about him, Tormund, the god amongst men. Oh, take me, Tormund. Take me, Tormund. Oh, Tormund. Oh, Tormund.
Oh god. It's not just Tormund who gets the good one-liners, the Hound also has a great line about chucking Mr. Flaming Sword over the wall if he kept preaching, and when Tyrion said that he wished his father was there, I burst out laughing because he bloody killed the guy. So overall, a lot of good jokes. The comedy wasn't overdone like you see in some of the MCU movies to the point at which it ruins the film, instead the jokes are all quality, and will serve as a reminder of better times when everyone dies come the end of the season. Not all the characters spent their time joking though, as Arya and Gendry spent their remaining hours getting it on instead, which is what I said I saw happening in my last review. These two undoubtedly had chemistry, they've been teasing one another since they were first introduced, and I've got to admit that Arya is pretty hot despite the fact that she scares the shit out of me. I've seen some comments on the internet from people getting up in arms about this sex scene, but personally I don't see the problem with it. Arya is 18 in the show and Maisie, who plays her, is 22. Arya is worried about dying, so she doesn't want to die a virgin, so chooses to have sex with one of her closest friends, someone she can trust. If you find consensual sex offensive yet will happily watch someone get their head crushed, then frankly there's something wrong with you. This is two young people worried that they are going to die having a bit of fun, and I think they deserve that, and I was actually quite happy seeing them get together. Another scene that made me smile was seeing Brienne be knighted to become Sir Brienne. Brienne has proven herself time and time again since the start of the show, and it's pretty ridiculous that she can't get knighted just because she's a woman, despite the fact that she's probably a better swordsman than the majority of those who are knighted. This moment was a dream come true for her, and I'm glad to see it happen. Aside from that, there's only a few other things that I quickly want to talk about before I wrap things up. So firstly, Tormund scared the absolute shit out of me when he rugby tackled Jon. The dude nearly gave me a heart attack. Secondly, I'm glad that Tyrion actually took the time to speak to Bran about his journey. Whilst everyone else has just written Bran off as a bit of a weirdo, Tyrion is clever enough to realise that there's more to him than there appears. And perhaps Tyrion might have acquired a crucial piece of knowledge from him. I also like seeing Jorah and Lyanna briefly interact with each other. It's something that I mentioned that was missing from last week's episode, so it's good to see that they are in fact aware that they are relatives. Also, how can you not like Lyanna? I love this kid. Hopefully she doesn't die next week. Fourthly, is there nothing that Podrick can do? He knows how to satisfy the ladies, he can handle himself in a fight, and he can sing better than Ed Sheeran. And lastly, with the episode being set entirely at Winterfell, there was no Cersei to be seen at all. Now what I'm about to say is going to sound absolutely crazy, and to be honest I kind of think it is. But I started thinking to myself after the episode finished, what if the writers are just trying to throw us off in the wrong direction by making us think that Cersei isn't going to help Winterfell against the dead, when in fact she will. The battle with the Night King is obviously not going to go well for the North, and what if word is to reach Cersei that her two brothers are in danger somehow? I don't know, maybe Gendry the marathon runner will sprint to King's Landing and tell her. The point is, as I think Jaime said to her previously, why rule when there's no one left to rule? Imagine how amazing it would be to see Cersei turn up with her 20,000 soldiers and the elephants, and realise that she has to do her part and save Winterfell. I know it's a long shot, and maybe I've just concocted this theory because part of me hopes that this woman has to have some kind of redeeming qualities within her, but just remember who came up with this idea if it's right. And if it doesn't happen, which is 99.99% likely, feel free to call me an idiot. So that's it, Season 8, Episode 2 of Game of Thrones, another dialogue-heavy, character-orientated episode, which I liked. Not everyone will, but that's fine. It's not without its flaws, that's for sure. Some of the narrative choices do feel a bit odd at this moment in time, but hopefully later episodes will offer better explanations. Like I said at the start of this review, I believe this episode is intended as the last goodbye for a lot of these characters. So I think the time spent with them was worth it, and I think most of us will pine for these quieter moments come the end of the season. So there you go, that's it. Please let me know your thoughts below. Did you love this episode? Did you hate it? Did you think it was a bit average? Whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. Sorry that I am a bit of a sweaty mess this video. It's currently quite hot in the UK. Well, I say quite hot, it's quite hot for me. I can't handle the heat. I think it's about 20 degrees, which to most people isn't hot, but yeah, I'm not good with heat, so that's why I am what I am. It doesn't help when you've got bloody light shining on your face either, but you know, there you go. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.